Donald Trump delivers a bold ultimatum to the UK. Will they side with the US or stick with the EU on trade? Today we're diving into something that's been making waves in the political and economic world: Donald Trump's trade policies. Specifically, how his zero-sum worldview might backfire. So what do I mean by zero-sum? Trump believes that for one country to win, another has to lose. This is how he views world trade, especially with China. He thinks China is taking advantage of America. So his solution? Imposing tariffs on Chinese imports to the US. But here's where it gets tricky. Trump's mindset doesn't just apply to China. He sees Britain and Europe the same way. Stephen Moore, one of Trump's advisors, even said Britain has to choose between the European socialist model and the US free market. As ideology, this is meddling in another democracy's affairs, but as trade policy, it's downright cheeky and fundamentally flawed. Moore's comments suggest that if Britain leans more towards Europe, the US might be less interested in a free trade deal. This is offensive and bad economics. Sure, Trump's style is to make controversial statements, and sometimes he has a point. China's labor practices and treatment of minorities raise ethical issues. But punishing Britain with tariffs for making political choices Trump disagrees with, that's unacceptable. Moore's implication that Britain must choose between the EU and the US is misguided. The EU is Britain's largest economic partner, accounting for 43% of its trade, while the US accounts for only 18%. Fortunately, Trump doesn't always mean what he says. His rhetoric about trade is fundamentally flawed. Trade isn't a zero-sum game. It benefits both sides. Politicians' attempts to protect voters from trade effects usually backfire. That's why Trump didn't start an all-out trade war in his first term. Nor did he build the wall or exclude all Muslims. And he won't appoint RFK as health secretary because the Senate won't allow it. RFK's nomination is just a reward for folding his campaign and supporting Trump. Dealing with Trump will be awkward for Keir Starmer, which is why Peter Mandelson could be a good choice as ambassador to Washington. Trump will want to humiliate Starmer, just like he did Theresa May. Even Boris Johnson couldn't secure a trade deal with Trump, despite their supposed similarities. The deal is further away than ever, but what matters now is to prevent blanket tariffs. That would be disastrous for Britain and Starmer. The Prime Minister should straddle the choice between the US and the EU, because trade isn't a zero-sum game. Better trade relations with both are possible. In the end, Trump might be swayed by conventional economic theory. Tariffs raise domestic prices. Given the recent inflation's role in his election, Trump should be cautious about stoking that fire. Let's hope, once again, he's all mouth and no trousers. And remember, trade is not a zero-sum game. Thanks for tuning in to Make Dollars Online. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more tips on building your wealth. Stay smart, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.